Getting pushback from clients or objections to our offer is the norm. So you'd think most salespeople will be absolute experts on how to deal with that type of situation. Very rarely the case though. Hello, my name is Greg Story. I'm the president of Dale Carnegie Training here in Japan. We're broadcasting from the Mochizuki room in the High Performance Center here in Minato-ku in the very center of Tokyo. Well, handling pushback, hesitation, objections from clients is a very typical thing that comes up in selling. Not everyone's going to go for the offer exactly as it is. So how do we deal with that? Now, what's very interesting for me, we're teaching sales training here in Japan, is so few salespeople have any real clue about how to deal with that situation. We've gone through the solution stage, so we've talked about the features, we've then driven the benefits from those features, we've talked about how to apply those benefits, and we've given some evidence where it's worked elsewhere, and then we've gone to a trial close to see if they're interested to flesh out if there are any issues that we haven't covered or things we didn't deal with already, to see if we can get to the closing part to actually get the deal done. So out comes the objection. Now, a lot of salespeople, when they hear the objection, want to argue with the client. They want to push back and say, no, that's not right, blah, blah, blah. Get into an argument with the client, you're not going to win that one. Or they give up straight away. They drop the price. I was sitting next to a guy, Japanese sales guy, at an event recently. We were talking about sales, we were talking about handling objections. I asked him what happens when an objection comes up. He said, well, I just dropped the price by 20%. Wow, couldn't believe it. So what is the problem here? It's because they don't have a structure. So the first thing we've got to think about is, why is that an objection? Now, an objection is just a headline. It's a very, very, very short form answer on a really probably bigger discussion. But we need to get to that bigger discussion. So we should always question. You've said it's very expensive. May I ask, why do you say that? Very polite, not combative, just curious. Now, I've had this from clients, oh, it's expensive. When you dig in, why is it expensive? It's expensive because our budget for this quarter is set and that amount is over that quarter's budget. But if you took it across 2 quarters, then it'd be okay. So it wasn't actually expensive. Expense was not the issue. It was a timing issue. That was really the deep down objection. But you're not going to know that if you're saying, okay, I'll drop my price by 20%. So the first thing we should be doing is digging in. Why is that an issue? And don't go to just one level. I notice we're training salespeople to start questioning around why it's a problem. They tend to go just one level down. They get an answer and then they move on. Dig a bit deeper. Don't just be satisfied with one part of the answer. Dig a little bit deeper. Well, why is that the issue? And you'll find you get down to the real core issue for that client, and then you may be in a position to solve that for them, be it the terms of payment, the timing of payment. You might reconfigure the offer to make it more palatable. You might drop some things out. You might add extra value. There's all number of things you can do for a client to help them out of that problem. And it's not always price. It's not we think, oh, it's always price. It's not always price. We will have a number of issues that we want to do in terms of buying, but we can't do it for other reasons. Time is often a big one. We just don't have the time to devote to that. We don't have the resources at the moment to actually be able to utilize that. We can't fit that into our schedule at the moment because we're all maxed out. Many reasons. We need to know those reasons before we talk at all about trying to answer the objection. Once we really know, deep down the why, then we can answer it. And be careful, because sometimes clients will not tell us the real why. They'll give us an answer. Oh, it's this. But the real reason, it's like the iceberg, what's under the waterline on that iceberg, that's where all the ice is. The little bit we see at the top, that's not the real problem. That little bit they gave us, the top or the tip of the iceberg, that's not the real problem. We've got to get under the waterline. What is the bigger problem? And the only way we do that is through questioning what they've told us. So if we do that, we'll have a much better chance of serving that client and helping their business to be successful. And if we do that, then we will all be successful.